right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening or this morning or this afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Scott Conklin. I'm the Director of Admissions here at Episcopal High School. I've been here for 17 years now. I have 3 children who have come through Episcopal, and we are thrilled to introduce you to Episcopal High School today. And you'll have an opportunity to hear from our head of school, Mr. Stillwell, from our current parents and also our current students. So we hope to answer a lot of your questions. We've had so many great families and students come from China, and we are eager and excited to find the next group that will join our community and contribute in many different ways. I wanted to let everyone know that we are recording this session, and it will be made available after. So if you are able to have to jump off at some point and need to come back and watch, we have that recording ready for you. I want to introduce 2 key people at Episcopal. One is Mrs. Tron Kim Sr., who's our Senior Associate Director of Admissions and also Director of International Programming. She is with the students there. She just did a little wave. She's going to moderate the student panel. And then Julie Wong, who's our Mandarin teacher. Julie and I entered Episcopal together 17 years ago, so we are going strong, and Julie is a great resource for our students from China and parents as well. So with that, I want to kick it over to our head of school, Charlie Stillwell.
Thanks, Scott. And I want to take this moment to welcome you all. We greatly appreciate that you've carved this time out of your busy schedules to learn more about Episcopal. And we feel especially honored to have been able to welcome an amazing group of students and families from China here over many years. And we feel fortunate to have this partnership. We understand how difficult it can be to send your child halfway around the world to school, and we take it very seriously, our duty to make sure that we do all that we can to help our students from China have a wonderful experience. I'm going to stop there for a minute and let Julie sort of weave in with some translations as we go.
大家好，我叫王小芬，我在主教高中做中文老师。那查理的话呢，就非常欢迎你们就说专门来通过这个视频来了解我们的学校。那就说我们学校很长时间以来，特别是近10年以来的话呢，像我做中文老师，已经有越来越多的中国学生来我们学校读书。这些所有来到这里的中国学生，用查理都说的话呢，都是非常优秀的孩子。那从世界的另外一半来到这里那的话呢，他就希望的话呢，有更多的优秀的中国孩子的话呢，能加入到我们学校这个大家庭。Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, Julie. And I realize that you, as families, have a variety of schools in the U.S. to explore, but I do think there are several aspects of Episcopal that are unique and very important to us and help us offer our students a terrific experience in so many ways. The first aspect of our school that I think is so important is the fact that we are one of the only 100% boarding schools in the country, meaning all of our students live together with almost all of our faculty right here on the campus. And that helps us in 2 ways. First, it allows us to build very strong relationships here between the teachers and the students. And we feel that close relationship and source of support is critical in helping our students be their best selves. We also think being 100% boarding community is very important in preparing our students to become global leaders. We have students who come from all across the United States, over 33 states and currently 27 countries. And we think it's very important that our students have a chance to live together and learn from each other so that they're ready to be collaborative leaders as adults at a global level.
那就说呢，查理说，作为你们的话呢，就说有很多的选择，对学校各种让孩子给孩子最好的选择，但是呢，我们认为我们学校是一个非常特殊的学校，它是那第一点的话呢。查理强调的话呢，是我们是在美国唯一一个100%的这个寄宿学校的。那作为寄宿学校的话呢，它有2个特征是其他学校没有的话呢，就说因为是100%的，它就可以建立很强的这种关系，在老师和学生之间的话呢，就说这个师生之间的互动的话呢。一个让培养孩子能成为最好的自己第二点的话呢，就是我们学校的话呢就说他来自27个国家，还有大多数美国的州里面都有我们的学生。这样的话呢，他就可以培养更好的我们说全球的领袖，就是领袖人物，因为的话呢，在学校这个大环境中，和来自不同国家的不同州的学生之间，就说同吃同住，就说呢，他可以更加的了解自己，在这种大环境之间了解自己，那就说呢，还是那一点，让孩子能成为最好的自己。
Thanks, Julie. And then I would say a second aspect of Episcopal that is very unique but also so important is that we are one of the only boarding schools that is situated in close proximity to an amazingly vibrant and important city of Washington, D.C. And we focus on academic excellence by turning Washington, D.C. into a living classroom. And we use its amazing resources, the government, leading universities, major corporations, all to bring the learning to life. And because of this, our students thrive in their learning, and we're so proud that they go from here to outstanding colleges and universities all across the country and all around the world.
OK，那就说作为我们学校的话呢，还有另外一个优势是其他很多寄宿学校所没有的。我们是唯一一所寄宿学校的话呢，就说离这个首都华盛顿非常近。那的话呢，我们学校也一直都是把这个华盛顿首府的话呢，作为我们的活的教室。所以呢，我们充分的运用了，就说在在这个华府的所有的这个资源，就说像各个方面顶级的科学家、周边的大学，就说通过各种交流的话呢，我们的学生的话呢，在高中的话呢，就体验到真实的生活，就说有助于学生的话呢，进入自己想去的最好的大学。
But what we want to do for this program is to also give you information about Episcopal through the eyes of and experiences of our students and our current parents. So I'm going to turn things back over to Mr. Conklin for the remainder of our program.
OK，那就说的话呢，查理说的话呢，就说不是我说我们学校好，但是他更想通过让我们学生的家长来告诉他们，就说亲身的对学校的这个学校的经历，学校生活的方方面面也让你们更好的了解我们的学校。
Great. Thank you, Charlie and Julie. We're going to kick it over to Mrs. Kim Sr. and the students so you can get a student perspective. The students are going to speak to different aspects of life at Episcopal, and then we'll open it up to questions. For any questions, we just recommend that you submit those through the chat, which is in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. So go ahead and start sending in the questions whenever you're ready, and I'll turn it over to Tron and our students.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be with you all. I'm really excited to be here with seven of our fabulous students from Chinese backgrounds, and many of them are from China. So they're looking forward to sharing their experiences with you, and we're going to talk through some various topics that might be on your minds as you think about. All right, so one of the most important things, obviously, when you're thinking about schools is the academic program. After all, you are sending your children to schools to learn and to get a great education. So I'm going to have Connie talk a little bit about our academic program. You want to get started, Connie?
So in EHS, we have a really strong academic program. We have more than 150 courses available and over 75 advanced, college level, and honors course. And there's approximately 100 teachers teaching, and 80% of them have advanced degrees, and 90% of them live on campus, which I think is the greatest merit of being in a boarding school. And
yeah, so what have been some of your favorite parts of the learning experience here at Episcopal?
so my favorite part about Episcopal is you live in close proximity with your teacher because he or she, they might be your coach, your teacher, your English teacher, and also might be your dorm head, your friend. And we have a really close relationship with faculty that's like, they're not your teacher, they're just your friend who have like very common experience together, and we might walk their dogs like just for fun, not for like go to their like apartments and have advisory dinner together. And I think overall it's a really friendly environment for learning.
So I'd love to go quickly around the room and have each of y'all share your favorite class here that you've taken so far and why. Just a quick why.
Protest with Miss Pugh.
I'm taking that right now.
Really good.
Yeah.
I love the final project that we do.
My favorite class would be Advanced Statistics with Mr. Collins. He's my favorite teacher. He's also my crew coach. So we built up the relationship throughout the year and got stronger throughout crew season. So yeah.
My favorite class was Calculus VC with Rhonda because she's a really good teacher and it was really relaxing. That's kind of almost like a basketball.
You don't often hear that.
My favorite class so far is A Push. I mean, I just had it for like a week, but it's like an interesting course, and I just like U.S. history a lot.
My favorite class was my freshman English because of the teacher. I really enjoy being in Mr. Cusey's class. He makes the class so engaging and so fun. And I always find myself really easy in his class. Like I don't feel nervous or anything. And we have the best class and the best harkness discussion.
Yeah.
My favorite class would be AP US History, and I just love to see like all the different perspectives, like.
My favorite class has got to be the genre study. He's been the last years, and he's just like very experienced, and he's one of the greatest lecturer I've ever seen in my life. I just really enjoy listening to him talking about Shakespeare. I've never studied Macbeth so close in my life, and it was a great experience learning with him.
Awesome, thank you. Thanks, Connie. So we'll transition to talking about the McCain Ravenel Center, which is one of our signature programs and a program that really distinguishes us from many other boarding schools. So Benny's going to get us started and share a little bit about the McCain Ravenel Center.
Right, so the McCain Ravenel Center is the center of multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, extradisciplinary stuff at school. It's named after probably our most famed alumni, who's Senator John McCain. He ran against President Obama in the 2008 elections, and it was named. And Ravenel was the teacher that McCain often wrote about how Ravenel had influenced his life immensely within the classroom and without the classroom. And we hope that the naming of the center, reminds the Episcopal community of this kind of teacher-student relationship that we want to emulate, with all of our. The center houses Washington building, as Mr. Stowe mentioned earlier. Now, using Washington D.C. as a classroom, all of our classes have opportunities to go into DC throughout the year to incorporate certain resources such as Smithsonian museums into their learning. Another key component that McKean Ravenel Center is responsible are leadership and ethics training, which happens once every month with the whole school. So instead of going to classes on a Monday, you have leadership training and certain workshops with outside people. And it's just a great experience to learn with your classmates, but something that's new and something that's engaging in a very different way.
What have been some of y'all's most memorable experience, whether it took place on one of those Mondays or whether it took place with one of your individual classes?
Oh, I can go first. It was when remember the Paralympic person?
Oh, yeah.
When he came, he made the speech. It was really memorable because I do a lot of athletics, and it basically reminded me of my own experience and how he said, just like push yourself to like do one more, like I don't know, like one more second of like whatever sport you're doing. Push yourself to the extent, never give up, and that was like a very memorable speech for me.
My favorite so far was the math class last year from Mr. Thompson. So we're learning like ellipse. So we went to the Memorial for World War II in Washington, and we calculated the lens and stuff using our knowledge, using it in the real life. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and like similarly, in math class last year we went to LaGuardia Navy, which is like this Air Force and space kind of thing museum, and it's really cool to see all the like different aircraft and special kind of things that they stored there.
Anyone else?
I'm connected back to my advanced stat class. Mr. Collins took us to a data analysis company in Georgetown. Georgetown's a really pretty city, little town. And it's after that flex experience that makes me want to do data analysis in college. And I find big data really interesting. And so that flex experience plays a really important role in how I want to major in the future.
Yeah. So one of the things that you heard from Mr. Stillwell that differentiates us from other boarding schools that you might be considering is the fact that we are an all residential school. So all of our students live on campus as well as many of our faculty members. And that sets a very different tone of community for us. So Kara, can you talk a little bit about residential life and sort of what that all residential 100% boarding experience means?
Yeah, so we have 10 dorms on campus, 5 boys and 5 girls, all 9th graders, which are freshmen, they're gonna live together, and 10th to 12th grades are gonna live on their separate dorms. And there are advisories, which means that every student has a faculty advisor, and for 9th graders, they're grouped together with single gender and specifically 9th grade advisors, so they could adapt to the new environment quickly. And for 10th to 12th graders, they're in co-ed groups with upperclassmen advisors. And you get to see your advisors every day at chapel, community meeting, seated dinner, seated lunch, and also at regular advisor meetings, and just around campus, Advisory is, it's like a little home base for you on campus. It's like your little family on campus. You get to spend a lot of time just talking with people in your advisory and knowing, like you learn a lot from people in your advisory, and my advisor parents provide a lot of helpful resources for me. And they walk me through maybe as a new sophomore, and also when I was having roommate issues, and they helped me a lot with that. And I'm gonna move on talking about a little about leadership opportunities. So for dorms, there are prefects and monitors, which are juniors and seniors elected to help in the dorms. They work with the dorm team and dorm heads. They proctor, for freshman dorms, they proctor the freshmen, for upperclassmen. They were on duty each night per week, and they just help out the dorm heads. And they have to regulate and just maintain a nice, safe, and open environment on dorm. And They're also in charge of just making sure that all the new students are being taken care of and the dorm atmosphere is good. And for honor committee and discipline committee, Episcopal values honor a lot. The 4 pillars, including I will not lie, I will not cheat, I will not steal, and I will report who does so. This cannot be repeated. Like this is really important at Episcopal. And I myself am on the discipline committee. Connie over there is part of the honor committee, and we are in charge of some of the most important sort of violation of major school rules, and we work with Mr. Stillwell. And so yeah, and also for club leadership, there's sports leadership and arts leadership, and you get to be part of a lot of leadership as you progressively as you spend time in this community. And I'm in charge of ACE and UNICEF, which for ACE is where I find myself most welcome. And thanks to Mrs. Kim Senior, who's our advisor. She's and also Miss Wong. They're the best advisors anyone could have asked for. So yeah.
So I know, like, in addition to academics, many students will say like, residential life and dorm life is one of the best parts about the experience here. So what have been some of y'all's favorite moments from dorm life, or some of your favorite aspects of dorm life here at Episcopal?
I think something that is really important to know is that like there's no such thing as like a senior dorm, or there's no such thing as a junior dorm. It's all like very evenly mixed, and that's like one of my favorite things because there's always seniors and sophomores on wherever you live, and I think it's really important to mix with other classes and, you know, perhaps get a perspective on what kind of classes you want to take next year. It's also important to like mentor like people in underclassmen, and so yeah, I think it's really good that we mix the grade level very evenly on board.
I really enjoyed being on dorm because some of my teachers live on dorm and I could like always ask questions. Like Connie said, we're like always very close. Even though I remember this one time where I had like this math problem that I was really confused by, and Mr. Roth was on duty, even though he was not my teacher, he's part of the math department, and I was very fortunate that he was on duty that night. So I asked him a bunch of math questions, and I managed to finish my homework really early. And it's just like a really good opportunity to ask questions, to bond with their teachers, and to bond with them.
Yeah, and sometimes you have a teacher on your dorm team who's not your coach or not your teacher, but you just like, because they are on your dorm team and you get to know them better. For me, I lived on McGuire last year, and it was Mr. Walsh as the dorm pad, and he's a great person, and I learned a lot from him. And he had those things, we have to repeat it every night. It's 4.0. It's like 4R. It's responsibility, resilience, respect, and
He didn't repeat it enough.
I haven't learned it yet.
That's a life lesson I learned. I'm not supposed to forget that.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so we're moving on to thinking about the arts. The arts is a really wonderful and strong program at Episcopal, and Baker is actually going to share a little bit about the arts program with us.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Baker. I'm a junior. So I'll be introducing about art. So we have visual arts, performing arts, and digital arts. And I'll start off talking about visual arts. We have 3 main courses. That's ceramics, drawing, and painting. And then for performing arts, we have dance, instrumental music, choir, and theater. And then for digital arts, we have digital graphics, audio engineering, photography, and video production. I personally have taken video production 1. It's a great course taught by and I'm now doing theater fall play. I've done it last year. I'm doing it right now. So our theater program, I think it's a very strong program as well. We have Ms. Nonamaker as the director, and we have all the other teachers, like the choir teacher, Mr. Carter, they're all there for help, and that's why we do this on campus. And I think for arts, one thing that stands out kind of related back to residential life, because you get such close relationship. You develop such close relationship with your teachers, with your art directors. You sometimes talk to them maybe like in a lunch or in a dinner table, and you chat with them about the things you want to pursue in art, about your thoughts when you are, let's say, like doing fall play or music, or when you're performing, or even spring play. Benny has done a few spring play as well. It's just those things that you can talk to them closely, and you can have a conversation with them that you don't usually get those opportunities if you are not in a 100% boarding school, or like with like 80% faculty living on campus. And I think that's one of the most important things about arts as well. It's relating back to the residential life.
Sure, sure. Now, Benny and Connie, you have been huge participants in the music program here at Episcopal. So I'd love for you to chime in a little bit about your experience there, and then the rest of y'all. I know that you've at least taken art.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe you want to share a little bit about that experience.
So I personally play the violin, and I am in the string ensemble course. In this course, you have to have one private lesson every week. And the greatest thing about our arts program is that you have a lot of freedom in terms of what you want to pursue in your own art career. Like, for example, myself, I played a lot of sonatas, like duets, with Benny on the piano, and we performed a lot of times in chapel and had our own recital, and just negotiate with the teacher and Mr. Carter. He'll like allow us to do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, so I play a little piano. I'm with the professional ensemble. Similarly to the string ensemble, we have lessons every week. My private instructors, their primary job is at the marine band. So I get to have a taste of, music. Have a taste of music with, private tutors because I'm working in this area professionally. And as Connie said, the opportunities and the resources are there for students to pursue music at all various levels, whether it be afternoon, whether it's starting class, or doing free time on weekends.
What are some of the art things that y'all have done on campus?
Oh,
Lessons.
I've done digital graphic and digital production, so I'm like a big digital art person. But I want to mention, like, you can also do independent studies in art, which is like gives you this huge amount of freedom, and like you need to like all you need to do is to talk with the art teacher, and then just like have your own like kind of lesson plan over the course of the semester. You can just do this in study and focus on what you like to do and what your like specialty is in. Like in past years, we have like students do like kind of more like a more fashion side and can study like to make clothes and sew clothes and design clothes on graphics on clothes and other stuff. So you have a lot of like freedom in the art departments. I would say like you can like here you have the chance to pursue like what you want.
You want to add anything?
Yeah, I'm currently doing afternoon art, and I'm also doing an independent studies called Advanced 3D, which I handle a lot of stuff, and I love it. I keep telling people I love doing graphics so much, and it's Ainsley Arts Center is one of the most relaxing, prettiest buildings on campus, and I want to touch base on the independent studies that Joey mentioned. Same for me for ceramics. You get to build your own portfolio by the end of the semester or the year, and just with a collection of your signature arts. And it's really important to find a way, like in music or performance art, digital graphics, or just art in general. It's really nice to be at Episcopal and to be able to pursue any kinds of art that you desire.
Thank you. All right. So another big component, another big aspect of life at a discipline is athletics, and all of our students participate in athletics in some shape or form throughout their time here. So Alina, can you talk a little bit about our athletic program and also about your own experiences?
So hi everybody, my name's Alina. I'm from China, Beijing, and I'm a sophomore. So Episcopal offers 19 individual sports. We have 50 teams across all skill levels, and there are 10 non-competitive options. We have amazing facilities here in Episcopal. We have outdoor track, indoor track, and field houses, stadiums, 8 playing fields, 3 turfs, 12 all-weather tennis courts, 9 sports squash centers, 2 indoor gyms, fitness center, weight room, and wrestling room. So we have 2 really big games throughout the year. We have the Seminary Hill Cup and also the Woodbury game. So Seminary Hill Cup has been going around for around 25 years or so. And it's basically it's only like girls sports team like playing against St. Agnes St. Stephen's. And each year it's a really big deal and everybody really participates and prepare for this event. I also mentioned Woodbury. Woodbury is our rival school, and the Woodbury game has been going around for more than 100 years. Each year we would have this final big football game where Episcopal plays against Woodbury, and each year we rotate the location. Last year we played in Woodbury, and this year it'll be in Episcopal. And before the Woodbury game, usually the day before, we would have the semifinal dances, which is also really cool. So I want to talk about a little bit about my athletic experience. Sports has been a huge part of my life as I was growing up. It really shaped me into the person I am today. And basically Episcopal helped me create like this experience, and it really helped shape me into a better person. So I played tennis during the fall, and I did swimming during the winter. I also did crew during spring, and I wasn't that big of a crew person before I came here, but I took crew during spring, and it really offered me a lot of like opportunities. I was so fortunate to be I rode in a 4 with my amazing teammates Cindy, Lee, and also Victoria. I also went to a lot of regattas, and we were also really fortunate to participate in the state championship finals. It was just a really great experience, and I feel like what makes a sports team really important, like what makes a sports team good, it's the teachers and the students that are involved in the sports team. They make me feel very comfortable, and they're always really encouraging. It doesn't like no one's going to judge you. Just try your best and always work hard for it, and your hard work will pay off.
So thank you. Danny, y'all want to talk a little bit about your sports participation here?
Yeah, sure. I'll talk about my experience. Okay, everyone knows I'm a huge climbing person. Like, I joined the climbing team of our school my freshman year, and I love it, absolutely love it. My climbing coach, Mr. Thompson, he's also my math teacher, and he's also my advisor, and he's great. Our climbing program's awesome. We won the championship last year, and our boarding school has the best climbing team.
We started a climbing program in our area.
Yeah, it's great, and we go off campus every day, 1 through 5 to a climbing gym. It's huge. It's awesome. Everyone should consider climbing.
A little softer.
Yeah, and I also do Ultimate Frisbee in the spring. It's a great sport, and yeah.
Yeah, so I want to emphasize on like we have like a lot of skill levels. So like if you've never done a sport or like you're really good at some specific sport, you can find your place in our athletic team easily. Like for example, I was never a cross country person before I came here, but this is my 3rd year doing cross country already, and I absolutely like love it. And at first I wasn't that good. I run like a 30 minutes, 3 miles. Now I'm just keep improving, and like don't worry about your skill level when you like choose sports team. Don't let that be a like element of like, oh, I don't want to go to this team because I'm too bad. Like we accept all skill levels, and like as Linda mentioned, we are really supportive, and yeah, so we're a sports team.
Yeah, and speaking on like trying a new sport, last year I joined climbing for the first time. Climbing's very convincing. It's hard to refer people, but it works. And I think like at first like I was obviously absolutely garbage, but after a while I think just because it's everything is so supportive and there's many coaches and all these people to teach you how to do things and you can also ask for advice, got a lot better and hopefully at some point I will be better than Connie. I think it's really important. It's really nice how there's always so many supportive people in each team, and yeah, no matter what kind of sport you do.
Very cool. Thank you. So one of the things that you might be thinking about and wondering about is, your children, if they were to come to Episcopal, is they're traveling a long distance to go to high school. So what are they going to do with their free time? What are they going to do on the weekends? And here at Episcopal, one of the things that we get to enjoy is the fact that we don't have Saturday classes. So we have a full weekend that starts on Friday. So there's a lot of time on the weekends for students to just unwind and connect and have fun. And it's one of the best big parts of the student experience here as well. So Brian, can you talk to us a little bit about the weekends here and sort of what do we do on the weekends?
So I guess the biggest thing about weekends is that there's nothing you need to do. So like there's not really many commitments unless obviously if you're doing some sort of sports they have games on weekends. And this is really nice because you kind of plan out your day. If you want to do some extra study, you just want to relax, if you want to go out to DC. And so like it's really easy to just get a leave with a bunch of your friends and go down to Old Town, which is kind of like the historic center of Alexandria, where there's a lot of little shops and food and a bunch of things you can do. Or you can go to DC. Obviously, it's such a big city with so many different things, especially a bunch of museums that are all free, which is really nice. And you can always go to the National Gallery of Art or all these different places, which are really nice. But the biggest thing is like the school already has like a lot of different activities. There's like an activities committee that gets a huge sum of money. And they plan a ton of events. So for example, I think like every like 2 or 3 weeks, every month or so, there's always going to be like a play at the community center or a musical, and you can sign up for that if you're quick enough, and you'll always get go there for free. And so like that's like one of the big advantages that you can that we have since we're so close to DC, and we have that like all these you can like even if you don't want to spend any money and like take an Uber to downtown or whatever, there's always free public transit too. And also there's a bunch of like like school shuttles that take you to DC or other places for different activities. So yeah. And just another thing I think is important is like on weekends you can also like stay off campus for like one night if it's difficult for us per se because there's no place for us to sleep. Find a place to sleep for the night. You're not homeless for one night. You can stay overnight someplace, and it's sometimes nice to get off campus for just like a day.
Probably with students that are local. So we have that are local, right? Yeah. So you should. None of our students are ever homeless. So what have been some of y'all's like your top weekend activity that y'all have done?
It was grade 9 Busch Garden. It was amazing. It was a 2-hour bus drive, but it was a long time, but it was so worth it because I'm actually met my best friend over there, Katie. We basically clicked right away. We went to a lot of we went through a lot of really cool games together, and we ran around Busch Garden twice trying to find everybody and almost missed the bus, but that was another story. It's really amazing because the school offers basically everything, and yeah.
Mine would be dim sum and Korean barbecue.
Yeah.
We have a lot of great restaurants in DC or around Virginia, and we just go there and eat, and it's great to have some non-dining hall food. And we also have my favorite trip last year was Mr. Thompson's outdoor climbing trip. We went to a park, not really park, a huge outdoor space where we had outdoor climbing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to touch base on weekend activities where you can organize and host your own event. For example, like ACE, we just did a Moon Festival event last Friday, and it was really successful. And so, again, I'm just repeating everyone else, but there are a lot of opportunities at Episcopal, and just go for it. Go out of your comfort zones and organize the events you want to do, and just have fun at Episcopal.
And also, like, one advantage we have is like, as Brian mentioned, you can really just, go wherever you want with your friend. Like, me and Brian went to the museum called War Planet. It's absolutely so fun in Washington, and it's about like language and how it like evolved over time. And like, you can just like go Uber or like take a bus or train into DC and just like go to this museum and like have like lunch with your friends and had a relaxing like day. It's just so great that we're really like near DC and we have this like opportunity to do so.
Awesome. So before we complete the student panel, we have one more topic that we wanted to talk to you all about. That, of course, is the experience of being an international student. So for you all, your children will travel a long distance, and they're going to navigate situations and issues that maybe some of our domestic students aren't going to be thinking about. So Joey's going to talk to us a little bit about his experience as an international student, sort of what that distance has meant, being so far away from home, staying connected to family, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so I would say like for when we don't have COVID, it's like really, really convenient to come from like China to like DC because there's always a flight from I think Beijing to DC directly. That's what I was tend to do if we don't have COVID. So but however like during the COVID time, the school is also like really supportive of like our travel plans. I was kind of like stuck in Shanghai because I couldn't get a plane ticket and like there's a typhoon, but everything worked well, and school like really helped me to organize and basically like get into the study mode after I arrived. And when we like have all those like really weird programs by Chinese government, you need to go back to China. You have to fill out those forms, and like the school really helps you a lot in like process of correctly doing so. So make sure you can go back to China. And for breaks, so our school keeps open for like long weekends, and just I think 3 long weekends, 3 long weekends out of the year. And our schools closed for major breaks like Thanksgiving, winter, spring. But it's like if you have nowhere to go, you don't know where you want to go, or you have a family friend, the school can always like help you to find a place to stay, probably with other like international students. And one of the major thing being an international student in like EHS is like I think we're really like welcoming for all kinds of cultural, like we're truly a school that embrace like all cultural and like all different kinds of people. And we have different affinity. We have Asian affinity that's like also this comes in here. We do a lot of like bonding together, and as like one of the major missions to kind of spread the like and let's local students to know, like really get to know our like Asian cultural, which is like really fun to do. I think in Prospective we also have ACE. We host like different activities, probably like every month, and then like we have activities on those major like Asian festivals, and it's just really great to be here, to be with this such inclusive community that like welcomes all kinds of culture and gives you opportunity to spread your culture to the others. Yeah.
So as we sort of wrap up this segment, can you all just sort of share one quick piece of advice as an international student for sort of navigating that transition away from home, the culture shock, the missing home, whatever that might be that you all experienced as an international student?
Just one sentence.
One advice, but
Yeah, mine would be to embrace difference, because China and the States is really like two very different cultural environments. Like me and most of my friends grew up in completely different cultural background, and you really have to like learn to embrace difference when you're under such situation and environment.
I have a one sentence advice. Call your mom, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say talk to your upperclassmen, feel comfortable. Like Carrie, I would always go to Carrie. She's like my older sister here, and I get great advice from her, and it's just really comforting when I talk to her because she reminds. Like I've always wanted an older sibling, and she's basically my older sister.
She's like my little sister. I would say again, jump out of your comfort zone, and it's okay. Take your time. It's okay to be lost at Episcopal because there's so much going on at the same time, and sometimes it's hard to navigate yourself. You get lost when you're finding yourself because we're all teenagers, and it's all right to take your time and embrace Episcopal and yourself, and embrace your culture. Don't forget where you come from. That's really important. Don't get lost. It's okay to get lost, but find yourself in the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think my piece of advice would be like bring a few like important things and things of sentimental value with you here for decoration and just to keep. Like for example, I have like a bunch of photos of when I was younger, like a baby or something. But maybe not that old. So like I think it's important to always have those like photos of you and your family or like something from back home to remind you where you came from, and also more importantly like to I guess be a little bit nostalgic to how life was back then. But yeah, I think it's important to have these kind of decorative things around your room.
Yeah, so I think one of the most important thing, one of the most experience I had that helped me through is that always talk. Like there's always someone who will listen to you, and then that's something Episcopal has done really good is that they try to embrace vulnerability instead of teaching you to be tough. And I think that is very important for international students because you're not with your family, you're not with your like fast friends that you've been through was like maybe your whole life or like your family friends. You're not with them, you're making new friends. So sometimes you can feel lonely, will get lost, just like Carrie had said. And I think it is important to talk to people, no matter it's faculty or your friends or even other international students. I think that's one of the most significant.
And think of your teachers as your friends, right? Over this talking here, over our panels, talk about relationships they've cultivated with their teachers throughout their experience at the school. And I think the biggest way that I had my deepest connections with teachers is to not think of them as teachers, to interact with them as a human being, and to share things that are meaningful and worthy of sharing.
Thank you. Well, unfortunately, we don't have time for questions and answers because our students actually have to get to class. But I want to thank them for their time, for waking up early, for being here, and for sharing their experiences with you. So I'm just going to give them a quick round of applause. Let's take it over to Mr. Compton to transition us to the next segment of our program. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Great. Thanks, John, and thanks especially to the students. I wish I was there with you all. That looked like so much fun. Have a great day of classes. I'm going to turn it over to our parents. So we have 3 current parents. This session will actually all be in Mandarin, and I'm going to turn it over to Gloria. Gloria, let me know if you need help with anything as you're going through. And we'll give you kind of a 5-minute warning. But thanks again, students, and Gloria, it is all yours.
Thank you. 各位参会的家长和学生，大家好。我是 Gloria，我是Joey 的妈妈。我儿子周以晨，他现在是在11年级Junior。然后我们今天呢，一共有3位家长来参加今天的这个section。那我也请我们另外2位的家长介绍一下自己，好吗？
好的，Hello， 我是周以，听得到吗 ？OK，
听得到。
OK， 我是 Brian 陈的妈妈，她也是11年级，我还有一个女儿是 Chloe， 她在9年级，今年新入学。好，好，你好，能听见吗？
可以。
能听见，好的，我是 Benny 的妈妈，Benny 今年12年级了。一会儿再跟大家介绍一下12年级的同学的申请季的事情啊。
好的，那么我们今天呢，家长的这部分呢是这样，我们因为刚才其实大家都听到我们的同学们把学校的方方面面都介绍的比较完整了。那么我们呢就从家长的角度呢，我们每个人都会讲一讲自己印象比较深刻的，或者说我们平时作为家长来说被问到最多的问题。那我们大概每个人有5分钟，3个人讲完以后呢，也会留一点时间，如果大家有问题的话呢，可以在这个问答的那个框里面打给我们，那我们也会回答大家的问题。好，那我们先从 Zoe 这里开始。
好的，其实我主要讲就是说新生入学哈，因为Brian 是2020年就 Junior。的话，他是2020年来 EHS 的，那个时候由于疫情哈没有办法送到学校来，他就是自己过来的。那在这个过程中真的是很多很多的挑战，但是学校真的是给了很大的帮助，因为他需要隔离，然后由于疫情学校的开学时间推后了，那么其实在入境的时候就遇到了一些麻烦，因为他在加拿大隔离哈，当时要求，美国政府要求吧，就是说不能直接从中国入境，但是学校给的帮助真的是很大，知道我们遇到了困难，然后可以学校马上跟我们家长联系，然后可以提供给我们，因为他住宿的问题哈，学校提供一些住宿，然后对，然后包括签证方面，Vincent 也是非常的真是给力哈，马上就调整了各项的政策。那么到今年2022年9年级，我的女儿Chloe 终于也可以来了。那么这一次我是真正的来送他们，然后就真的是感受到学校提供了非常多的帮助，尤其是对我们这种international 就是国际新生哈，国际新生我们最重要的是首先它会很多的邮件简直是可以说是邮件轰炸，然后很多的邮件来确认，然后来帮助我们来认识，然后走整个流程，尤其是国际生是可以提前1天到学校报到。所以是比正常的新生入学是早了1天的。那么在这方面，我们的有的孩子可以倒时差，因为我们是提早就到了美国，所以倒没有倒时差。但是学校就是让这样有小朋友可以好好的休息一下，然后可以倒时差，然后也可以安排接送机，甚至如果更早一些的，我知道有一些学生是早到了。不是9年级的哈，那个倒是，早到的话，学校也安排了住宿，甚至可以住在就是在老师的家里面可以住宿哈。那么在9月3号是提早了1天，报到的时候呢，那说句最实际的，我们可以就是说在寝室方面，其实孩子们在大概8月中的时候就知道他的室友是谁了。那么他们已经就是可以在网上都可以沟通。那么在入住的时候呢，那就可以先 move in 的话，他就可以先就是安排好安顿下来，然后在第1天呢，还可以认识你的 advisor， 还有就是认识一些老师，尤其学校还提供了就刚刚他们提到的 monitor 和 prefect， 就是来帮助小朋友入住 尤其是在国际新生的方面，我看到他们安排的还有就是从中国来的孩子特别的来帮助，这样子，可以就是家长陪进去或者不陪进去，他们都会帮你的孩子可以安排好，然后再提前一天也会有些活动，而且我们还 tour 了，今年的新的宿舍楼的这个新建哈，然后专门有老师带领我们参观了整个新的宿舍楼，就是我觉得学校在竭尽全力让新生可以尽快的融入，那是在国际新生，那到9月4号的时候，所有的新生都会报到，新生老生，那么还有对新生来说，我们家长们可以见到宿舍的管理老师，整个 team 还不是一个，我记得那天有见到6、7个老师，各个方面的，有老师住在宿舍里，还有可以认识到他们一些高年级的同学也是在他们的这个新生 dorm 里面，像女生在 Anderson， 然后都可以认识，然后在9月4号第二天就是正式报到的时候，还可以见到你的各科的老师。都可以去了解去见面，也会见到很多新的家长，这样子，我觉得这个整个入学的这个报到的程序非常的其实非常多，活动非常多。我觉得他们的目的就是让新生尽快的融入。然后在第1周，我听我女儿说，他们非常忙，学校安排的活动很多，然后让小朋友们可以互相的建立更紧密的关系。然后他们在接下来的那个星期，9月17号有一个扎营5天的露营的活动啊，那个活动也是他们这个9年级新生非常重要的一个活动，然后我相信也可以建立更紧密的这种关系。好，然后真的是非常感恩，我觉得非常棒，谢谢。
柔仪讲的让我非常羡慕，因为我们9年级来的时候也是错过了开学，然后我听你讲了，我觉得很开心，也为Chloe 感到开心啊，有这么棒的开学的迎接的活动，然后我们请 Benny 妈妈。
好的，刚才说了，我想给大家介绍一下呢，我们学校在大学申请的时候，学校能给予的一些安排和帮助，我相信这也是来申请美高的家长啊。
Hello，
我也听不到
我们是不是 miss 掉 Benny 妈妈了？你也听不到是吗？
是的，要不你先介绍。
OK，你有他微信，你联系一下他吗
？OK， 好。
那我可能Benny妈妈那边线路有点问题，我先讲讲我们的这个感受。我想特别讲的是，在疫情期间，学校对这些特殊的我们国际生，尤其是中国学生的一些安排。那么刚才其实那个Joey也已经讲到了那些经历啊，我觉得我其实作为家长来说，我们是非常关心，就是整个的这个孩子在外面他的一些这些生活上面是不是能够完全达到？那疫情期间呢，挑战特别大。然后，我们听不见你。然后，我们当时2020年入学的时候呢，因为不能够直接飞到美国来，所以Joey是在迪拜待了2周，然后呢提早到学校。那到了学校以后呢，也是由学校安排，因为他还是一个低于18岁不能自己住酒店嘛，是学校替他订了酒店，然后我们从迪拜飞到华盛顿，是老师去去机场接的，送到酒店，替他办了入住。他一个人住在酒店里面呢，我们的老师轮流，有大概5位老师，每天一天给他送3顿饭，轮流去 送饭，然后陪他说话，看他的情况怎么样。然后他在酒店里面住了2周以后呢，再有老师把他接到学校，入住到宿舍。这整个过程就全部都是由我们学校的老师，我一点都没有操心过。那这件事情是我非常非常印象深刻，因为学校对我们整个的这个安排非常的关心。然后呢，还有呢，就是整个的这个疫情期间，在2020年和2021年，就大家都还没有打疫苗的时候，学校的这个防疫的措施是非常非常的完善的。当时2020年，我决定把孩子送回来，9月份就开学的时候呢，是因为看了学校网站上面的防疫措施。我们网站上面一共有12个页面，就是讲我们整个的防疫措施的。我大概做了4000字的笔记，然后我们的那个校长也专门开家长会，专门跟中国的家长开家长会来跟大家解释学校准备怎么样做。那我看了以后，我觉得非常放心，就把孩子送回来了。那么等到2020年、21年，我们6月份要回中国的时候呢，因为有各种各样的防疫政策嘛，要申请绿码，各种各样的政策是非常复杂的。那么20年和21年我们回国的时候，有2位学校的老师不约而同的都来跟我说，一位是21年我们回国的时候是学校的医生，然后22年的时候回国的时候是学校的Dean of Student， 就是负责学生的那个老师。他们2个人都跟我说了一句话，同样的一句话，都是你放心，我们一定想办法把孩子们送回中国，送回你们的身边。然后他们的确是这样做的，他们会去研究领事馆的政策，然后研究了政策以后跟我们提前来商量。打疫苗的时候要拍照也是老师去做的，打完疫苗要出证明也是老师去做的，非常完整的。然后所有的资料都是老师准备好，学校离校的时候给到大家一份资料。然后我们22年一开始有一个政策是说，要提前到出发地7天隔离以后，才能够从那个出发的城市，坐飞机。那么那个时候，因为华盛顿没有直飞回国的，大家都是要到各个城市去。那个时候，学校还准备安排派老师陪着我们这些学生到出发地去住，来确保大家可以安全的上飞机。那么后来因为政策放松了，就不需要提前7天了，那大家也是很开心，松了一口气。那么学校还是非常贴心的，也提供了比如说我们到纽约的话，也会提供一些紧急联系人，如果我们有需要的话也可以找。那么这些细节其实都是体现了学校对于我们国际生的一些关心。然后我觉得我们从这个过程当中是能够感受到学校的一个温暖的这样的一个环境。那我觉得从这方面来说，我也是很想让今天上线来听的这个家长了解到我们学校就是是这么做的。好，那我看到 Benny 妈妈上来了，应该可以了。好，交给你。
现在能听见吗？
可以。
太好了，太好了。好的，我现在就介绍一下我们学校在这个大学申请阶段呢，有哪些帮助和安排。我首先是从这个 counselor 说起啊，也就是这个升学指导。我们学校啊，从今年起呢，有4位升学指导，大概呢每位升学指导负责接近30个同学，这个比例在美高呢算是中等偏好的情况。counselor 介入工作呢是刚刚就和大家见面啊，是在十年级的下学期，但那个时候呢，只是介绍一些比较简单的大学申请的基本流程。因为那个时候嘛，主要的精力还是在当季申请的学生身上。然后 counselor 正式介入工作呢，是在11年级第1学期结束，也就是上一年的同学把这个RD 阶段常规申请的这个资料交完了以后，11年级第一学期结束，开始这个 counselor 和这个同学之间的1对1沟通。然后呢，一个比较重要的事情是会引入一个 score 系统 SCOIR 这个 score 系统。这个系统里面呢，家长和这个孩子会各自开立一个账户。 然后孩子的 GPA 呀、标化成绩啊，都会放在里面，自己可以看到。counselor 呢也会让这个家长和这个孩子分别填一个问卷，他会依据这个问卷定期和孩子沟通，了解孩子的情况。这个呢是为他将来写推荐信啊做准备。在这个期间呢，家长呢有一些问题也可以写信去给 counselor。我记得去年的时候呢，就有关一些选校啊一些问题，我呢写过邮件啊，也可以和这个 counselor 约，这个谈一些话题，感兴趣的话题。再说到这个 score 这个系统啊，比较有用的一个地方，我觉得是这个，你可以看到，前几个年度大家的这个升学的走向。举个例子吧，比如说孩子的 GPA 大概是在学校里，前20%的样子。那么你可以看一下这个系统里面过去几年前20%的这个 GPA 在前20%的学生去向是怎么样的？那大概呢就可以了解到这个自己孩子的选校的一个区间。说的是这个 counselor 的这个工作的就介入的时间，还有工作的方式，还有跟大家就是工作的时候所用的这个系统啊。然后我再说一下我们学校这个在标化考试方面的一些安排。我们学校不是标化考试的，就这个 SAT 啊，它不是考点，但是呢，它在每年的春季和这个每年的秋季啊，会给这个申请季的学生安排一个校内的考试。这个考试呢，可以在学校内报名，然后在学校内考。有的同学就通过这个考试能够解决问题，这个是最轻松的。然后呢，学校是在10年级和11年级呢会安排一个 PSAT。这个 PSAT 呢是一个，你可以说是为这个 SAT 练习做准备的，它可以预估正式考试的这个分数。还有一个作用是，假如是有绿卡呀，有美国护照的这个同学呢，这个还是可以去评一个奖，有这么一个作用。这是标化方面的这个学校能够提供的一些帮助。还有呢是在文书方面呢，这个实际上主要还是要靠自己啊，但是 counselor 会和孩子呢聊一聊，他会要求孩子在这个11年级的暑假呢，把这个主文书一定要拿出来，开学会交给英语老师，会帮助大家把这个主文书呢稍微做一个修改，提一些意见。还有给大家的一些就是选校方面啊，我们学校呢，不是任何学校的 feeder school， 所以就是很坦白的说呢，就说你去选什么学校，主要还是要看孩子的情况。counselor 在这一方面，我觉得主要的作用是给大家提供信息啊，我们学校这个过去历年来这个学生的走向，还有呢这个 ED 呀、这个 EA 呀，这个我们这个一些基本的知识 counselor 会交代的很清楚，他会比较尊重孩子和家庭自己的选择。这个大学申请方面的事情，我大概介绍就是这样子的。那我们再回到这个 Gloria 这个主持人。
好的，谢谢白妮妈妈。然后我看了一下，我们在问答的这个里面呢，是会有一个问题，刚才是，但是是问到小朋友的啊，这个问题是当时为什么选择EHS，然后是什么吸引了你们？那么你来了以后呢，你觉得是不是每一件事情都是和你想象的差不多？那这个因为是给这个同学们都赶回去上课了，所以就没有回答到。那两位家长有什么想要分享的吗？就这个问题，当时为什么选择 EHS， 以及来了以后有什么感受？
这个我儿子那时候应聘做学校的导游，然后学校的老师问他你为什么要到 EHS 来，他自己答了一下，比较喜欢的是这个100%的寄宿这种氛围，还有呢就离 特区比较近啊，能够利用到这个特区一些资源，比如说像这个华盛顿项目啊，可以去参观一些博物馆呐、国家动物园呐、还有一些机会将来在这个实习呀、能够利用大城市的资源。他说的这2点。
好的，所以
Brian 在选择学校的时候呢，那个我们其实 location 很重要哈，当时是位置，觉得真的就是位置是非常重要的，安全。然后我觉得但那个时候我们是没有来访校，在 Brian 申请的时候哈，但是这一次Chloe 申请真的是毫不犹豫，真的我们其实是问了 Brian， 就是他哥哥，为什么你觉得你喜欢吗？Brian 非常喜欢这个学校，他觉得他学校的氛围非常好。你要说所谓的排名，所谓的学业哈，可能有一些不是说最 top， 但是他觉得其实不管在哪个学校，在这种 level 的学校，其实在学业方面都是充满挑战，但是他觉得在学校里面感受到更多的是很 close 很温暖。很紧密，学校的氛围非常好，所以他就是跟妹妹说，我们学校真的就是最好的学校。那么 Chloe 来了之后，其实很快就感受到学校的这种welcoming， 就是欢迎你的这种感受，而且同学之间有爱，就是这种关系，让他也是觉得，才刚刚过去1个星期啊，他已经是非常的就是开心，可以做出了正确的选择。谢谢。
好，那我也说说我们当时选择，我当时选择就是大概有3个考虑，一个就是100%寄宿，因为100%寄宿的话呢，等于所有学生都是寄宿的，那么我们他学校整个管理体系来说，它就是 baseline， 就是它的基线就是寄宿生。然后呢，我们国际生的话，只是比寄宿生多了那段国际的那个要求，所以就整个学校的各方面的这个支持会比较足够，那么来了以后呢，我觉得也是跟我想象的还是比较接近的，因为对学生的关心是很够的嘛。那么和其他的一些学校比呢，因为有些学校可能走读生比较多的话，它学校的管理的 baseline 是走读生，那么可能这方面来说就会有些差异。那这是第一个原因。第2个原因呢是我也是比较喜欢学校的那个 Washington Program，因为 Washington Program 呢是能够利用到华盛顿的这些资源。然后，它的一个整个的活动也比较丰富，而且呢，能够让这个孩子们，不单单是在学术上面去，利用到华盛顿的资源，而且它是可以跟社会有一些接触。那我觉得这个对孩子的成长也是非常重要的。那么，我们来了以后呢，其实第1年的时候呢，因为疫情的关系，他们就不能够出去。当时学校里面是组织了很多线上的活动，邀请了很多讲者通过这个Webex， 然后来做讲座。那么略有一点点遗憾。那到了去年和今年以后，基本上已经恢复正常了，所以这方面我们觉得也是非常的满意。那么第3个呢是对学生的关心，因为我当初访校的时候呢，有一位 admission office 跟我介绍了一下，我们之前有一位中国学生，在学校里面突发疾病，然后由他的 advisor 陪着去做手术的那个经历，那个故事我印象非常深。那我后来还听那个学生自己讲了一遍。那我觉得就是从那个故事里面看到的对学生的关心，我觉得是非常打动我的。那么我们后来也是的确感受到了学校在这方面对学生的关心，所以这几条我觉得我们都是达到了我们的预期的。然后我们家儿子回到学校他就会很开心，所以我觉得我们当初选这个学校都还是达到了我们的预期。好，然后我们还有一个问题，这个蛮有意思的，这个问题可能会比较一句2句说不完，就是学校的 culture 和整个的这个氛围，对于我们现在的political和 social 的一些变化， 在整个的这个 education 的这个 system 里面，我们是不是有一些 concern？我觉得这个问题真的是一个比较大的问题，可能要慢慢来讲。那总体来说，我觉得学校还是一个多种文化很包容的一个环境。那么我觉得我们在学校的整个的这个氛围里头是非常包容各种各样的文化和各种各样的背景的。那我们家还好，我没有看到，就是没有听到我的孩子跟我说他的一些担忧，就是整个社会上面发生的事情呢，其实是对孩子是会有一些冲击的，但学校会提供蛮多的支持，比如说他们会请一些不同的讲者来讲，他们遇到的事情，然后学校在有一些社会事件发生的时候，学校也会有专门的这个counselor，可以学生如果是有困惑，他们可以去找那些 counselor 去聊然后呢，还有就是学生是可以跟自己的老师和教练，因为他们都是住在学校里面的，他们如果是有一些思想上面碰到什么事情，有一些不开心，或者有一些觉得困惑的地方，都可以去找老师去聊。那么，我觉得在这一方面的话呢，孩子是一定是将来他要面对社会，他会看到这个社会上面的很多东西。我觉得让他们去了解外面的变化是应该的。那么学校提供的是一个非常安全的一个，在校内是一个非常安全的环境，同时也会帮他们去面对他们将来要去面对的一些挑战。我是这么来看的。所以和 Benny 妈妈，你们觉得这个问题你们有什么想说的吗？
这个问题确实蛮大的啊。刚刚觉得你说蛮全的，我稍微补充一点点个人想法。总的来说，我其实可能我知道，就家长在目前可能会担忧，在美国的那些社会，还有就目前这2年这个局势啊，可能会有些这些担忧。也是我们是100%寄宿学校啊，就有一点就有点像个世外桃源，跟社会接触相对还是比较少，你可以说有利有弊吧。有利是对于我们这个国际生刚刚到美国来说呢，这个过渡啊，相对来说还是比较好。但是你要说不利呢，你可能挑战不够大，因为真的没有直面社会嘛。很多，比如说在疫情刚刚起来的时候，会有一些对亚裔或者对中国人不友好的那些言论啊，这些啊，如果是在社会上，你可能会受到的冲击会比较大，但是在这校园里面，就有点像这种象牙塔世外桃源，感受还是不深。对，就是我想有的家长可能会有些顾虑，所以我从这个方面说一下。
我就记得，学校其实是就是有个教堂啊，不知道大家有没有访过校哈。然后每周有3次还是2次，就是包括周末哈，就是当然不是说强迫你信教哈，但是在教堂里面，我女儿就跟我说，妈妈是星期3晚上吧，然后她说有祷告会，然后呢，而且呢，实际上很多的时候会邀请讲者来。做一些宣讲，甚至是学生，高年级的学生都有。其实包括去年的 就是 BLM 是吧？还是什么？就是那个活动哈，当时学校就发邮件了，然后也请了，就是为这个主题专门做了一些宣讲。所以我觉得，包括在教堂里面做的这些活动哈，其实都会跟当下发生的事情会有一些联系，也会有一些正解。我的感觉就是不会是绝对的某一派的观念哈，但是会把事实告诉孩子们，然后也当然宣讲一些我觉得是正确的一些道理吧。所以我觉得这个环境让孩子们也了解。其实我觉得虽然没有。很多的时候，我们会常常说，我们因为看到的不是完整的一面，哈，不是全面。但是呢，我觉得学校也在尽力的让孩子们了解真相，然后也引导他们正确的引导。所以我是觉得我们是比较很安全，应该说这个学校至少在象牙塔类真的是在象牙塔，但他们也跟外界有一些联系，就是通过一些讲座这样子。
好的，我看到聊天里头还有一些问题，我们可能要留到后面，因为后面还有专门的 Q&A 的环节，我们现在把这个画面转给Scott，I will transfer to you now.
Great. Thanks, Gloria. And thank you, Zoe and Ming, for your wonderful help. We're so grateful for your continued support and admissions, and more than anything, grateful for the wonderful kids that you've sent us and the time that we've been able to spend with them. I certainly look forward to the next time that I'm able to visit you all in China, hopefully very soon. I'm going to kick it over to Mrs. Kim Sr., who will talk about the admissions process and also answer any questions that individuals have about the application process. I unfortunately going to have to take off in just a few minutes. I have a school visit coming up, but I appreciate everyone joining us today. We look forward to the next steps in the process, and please don't hesitate to reach out to anyone in the admissions office. We can put you in contact with our parents and also our students if you have any specific questions. So thank you again. We look forward to meeting everyone in person or virtually in the coming months. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to Mrs. Kim Sr.
Hi, everyone. It's great to see you back, or to be back with you. I had to transition from the previous room. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our admissions process and the requirements for applying to Episcopal. So hopefully you've gotten lots of great information. And if you didn't know a lot about Episcopal before, you know a lot more now. And you're interested in learning more and are thinking about applying. So I'm going to share my screen and project 2 slides that has some good information for you. And then I'm happy to take any questions that you might have. I'm going to let Miss Gloria translate first.
我会给大家翻译一下这部分。这位是我们那个Miss King Senior， 她是我们的这个专门负责国际生的老师，然后还有就是也是我们 Admission Office 的这个 Associate Director of Admission。然后今天他会跟大家介绍一下我们申请相关的 process，然后我们后面还可以有这个 Q&A 的环节，那我会给他做翻译。
Right. So we take 2 major applications. So you can apply to Episcopal using either the Gateway to Prep Schools application or the standard application online, which is also administered by the SSAT. So either one of those will be fine. We have no preference of any kind in terms of which application you choose.
我们学校是接受2个申请系统的，一个叫 Gateway， 一个叫 SAO。那 SAO 就是我们平时用的 SSAT 连在一起的那个。那这2个系统都是可以提交申请的。
During the application, your child will need to submit 3 letters of recommendations. The first letter of recommendation needs to come from their current math teacher, their current English teacher, and their a relevant school administrator. So that could be their head of school. If your child is attending a school where there are different divisions and there's a middle school division with a middle school head, it could be that person. If your child's school has a high school placement program and there is a high school placement director or counselor, it could be that person. So with that administrator recommendation, we're looking for someone who can give a sense of your student, of your child at sort of the higher up level. The math recommendation and the English recommendation gives us a closer lens into who they are as a student in the classroom.
我们的申请资料里面呢，需要3个推荐信，一个呢是数学老师的推荐信，一个是英语老师的推荐信。那么数学老师和英语老师的推荐信呢，主要是孩子在学术上面的表现。那么第3封推荐信呢，可以是来自于学校的校长，或者说是比如说学校里面有那种升学的部门的话，那是这种升学部门的老师也是可以的。那么这一封推荐信呢，主要是让EHS 的招生官了解这个孩子是一个什么样的孩子，那全方位的对这个孩子有所了解。Okay.
We also will want to look at their grades. So typically they want to see a 3-year transcript. So if they're applying as a 9th grader to Episcopal, we'll want to see their grades from years 6th through 8th grade. If they're applying as a 10th grader, then we'll want to see 7th, 8th, and 9th grades. If they're applying as an 11th grader, we'll want to see grades from years 8, 9, and 10.
然后在这个学业表现上面呢，我们是要求3年的成绩单。如果你是申请9年级的话呢，那就是6、7、8 3年的；如果是申请10年级的话，那就是7、8、9 3年；如果申请11年级，那就是8、9、10 3年的成绩单。
And we also will require the TOEFL test or the Duolingo or the IELTS test. So those tests are going to test you or your child for your English proficiency. So that's something that we require of all students who are applying from outside of the United States.
在那个语言能力方面呢，我们学校是接受托福或者 Duolingo 或者是 IELTS，那这3个成绩，是主要是体现这个孩子在英语能力方面的水平。
And then the next test is optional, is the SSAT test. It's a standardized test that many independent schools and most boarding schools typically have required in the past before the pandemic. During the pandemic, we moved to make it an optional test because it was difficult for many families to take the test. And currently, we're still remaining optional for that test. So it's completely up to you if you're a student, or completely up to the family to submit those tests. If you feel like your test score is a really good indicator of your academic potential and your abilities as a student, then feel free to send those scores. If you don't feel strongly about your scores, if you don't feel like they're very representative of you as a student or your child as a student, then you don't need to submit those scores. And we don't evaluate you differently if you choose to not submit your scores.
那么 SSC 成绩呢，在我们我们今年的申请里头呢，还是可选项。SSAT 因为在疫情之前，大部分的寄宿学校还有很多的私立学校都是要求的。那么因为疫情的影响，很多可能没有办法考，所以我们就变成 optional。那今年我们还是继续这个 optional 的这个政策。那么如果你觉得你的 SSAT 成绩能够非常好的反映你孩子的这个成绩那是可以提交的。那如果说你觉得还不够强，也不提交没有关系。我们在整个招生过程中间呢，是不会区别对待提交或者不提交SSAT 的学生的。
And then lastly, the last thing that we require is that you complete an interview. So this is for the student. You can complete an interview in person if you have the ability to come to our campus and take a tour. Part of your touring experience will include an interview after the tour. So we'll typically speak with the student first for about 20 to 30 minutes. And then after their time with us, we'll speak to the parents or whoever's accompanying your child and give you a chance to talk to us about your child. But you can also, if you can't make it to campus, that's not a problem. You can schedule a virtual interview where we're going to meet with you through a video chat through this WebEx platform, actually. And again, if you're there, we'd love to chat with you as parents. We'll certainly talk to the students, obviously. And if you're around and you also want to connect with us after we talk to your student, we're also happy to do that too. But it's not required for the virtual interview.
那我们还要求面试。那面试这个环节呢，是可以到校园来参加校园面试，也可以是在网上进行。那么如果是来参加校园的这个面试的话呢，通常我们会安排一个school tour，就是会有学生带着你们整个家庭在学校参观，然后参观好以后呢，我们的招生官会和孩子有一个20到30分钟的面试。那么在那个面试完结束以后呢，招生官也会和家长陪同的家长做交流。那么同时，家长如果有什么问题，也可以利用这个机会和招生官沟通。那么如果因为种种原因没有办法到学校来参加面试的话呢，我们是可以通过 WebEx 做网上的面试。那么网上的这个面试呢，通常也是先和学生去沟通。那么跟学生面试完了以后呢，如果家长是希望跟招生官沟通的话，也是可以跟招生官沟通的。但是这部分呢不是必须的，在远程网上面试的时候，家长可以参加，也可以不需要的话也可以不参加。OK。
And then the right-hand side are all of our important deadlines for the process. So January 15th is a pretty standard deadline for most boarding schools to submit your written application by. However, with the interview, you have until the end of January to complete your interview, whether that's in person or online.
然后右半部分是我们整个的这个申请过程中间的重要的日期。那么，我们的这个递交申请的截止日期是1月15号。那么这个跟大部分的寄宿学校都差不多。不过对于 interview 来说，就面试来说的话，如果说是有稍微有晚一点点也是 OK 的。那么在整个1月份都还是接受面试的。
If you're applying for financial aid from Episcopal, then that deadline would be January 31st. Typically, we are going to let you know of our decision on March 10th.
那如果说我们的家庭要申请 financial aid，就是助学金的话呢，那么这个申请是在1月31号之前要提交。那通常呢，我们会在3月10号的时候告诉大家申请的结果。
And then you typically, so if we offer you admission, you have a month to make that decision, and then we need to hear from you of your decision if you're offered admissions by April the 10th. And before April the 10th, there's an opportunity to come back to Episcopal for a program that's called Revisit. And it's a 2-day experience for us. So it gives you a full opportunity to sort of really get to know Episcopal in person. Your child will get to visit classes. You will have opportunities to meet with key administrators, with teachers. We also take you out on a little short trip of Washington, D.C., so you get to sort of see how close it is to campus and sort of all the different opportunities that are there. But we typically will want to know from you by April the 10th about your decision.
那如果你们在3月10号收到了 offer 的话呢，那有1个月的时间，也就是到4月10号，可以告诉学校你们的决定。那么在这个阶段里头呢，还会有一个 program 叫做 Revisit，就是应该说是返校日吧，就是你们可以拿到 offer 以后，可以有2天的时间到学校来。那这是给孩子一个感受到整个学校的一个氛围的一个非常好的机会。这2天呢，孩子会在学校上课，然后看一下课程的情况，然后家长有机会见到学校的管理层，也见到学校的老师。那么可能还会有一个短途的旅行，带你们到华盛顿。那整个的2天的目的呢，就是让大家感受在学校的生活学习的一个经历是怎么样的，然后可以帮助你们更好的做决定。
Right. And then the next page is just our contact information. So this is our main admissions email that you can send, that you can use this to ask any questions that you might have. Then that's also our phone number as well. And then we also will encourage you to follow us on social media. We have a wonderful Instagram account where we post a lot of different things that are happening throughout the week, throughout the day. So it's a wonderful way just to sort of get a window into the experience that our students are having at Episcopal. And then on our YouTube channel, also at EHS Admissions, you'll find a lot of different informative videos. There are videos on each of our sports programs. There's a campus tour that Benny Wong did 2 years ago that's available there. So lots of good information there as well. We encourage you to check those platforms out.
好，那这一页呢，就是我们招生办的联系方式有邮箱，有电话号码。如果你们有任何问题的话呢，欢迎大家通过这个方式来问我们的招生官们。那么还有呢，我们也有非常好的social media 的社交媒体的账户Instagram 和这个 YouTube 都有我们这个 EHS 的账户，那么大家可以 follow Instagram 上面呢，我们会 po 很多各种各样的照片，然后大家可以看到这个 @EHS Admissions， 就是你们如果在那个社交媒体上面找的话，都可以找到。那欢迎大家follow 我们的社交媒体，可以了解学校的生活。
So that is all that we wanted to share with you about the admissions process, about getting more information. I'm happy to answer any questions about the admissions process. I see that our parents are still here as well. So if you have any questions that you want to pose to the parents, you're also welcome to do that. You're welcome to use the chat. You're welcome to unmute yourselves and ask those questions live. Either way is fine.
Okay, I think there are 2 more questions from the parents in the chat box.
Yeah, go for it.
The first one is about the campus tour, in-person interview, would it be much better than online? And the next question is for our parents. What do you feel about what did you feel when you visit EHS? And can you feel the warm atmosphere when you visit EHS?
Yeah, so we don't have a preference between in-person or virtual. So it's really completely up to you. I think I will say, however, that if you have the ability, if it's easy for you to make the trip to campus, I do think it serves you and your child and your family better because you get to see where they're going to be and where they're going to live, where they're going to eat. You get a sense of, how close we are to the city and some of sort of what's around campus. But in terms of how it affects their admissions process, it doesn't affect their admissions process at all. So we have many students who apply, who come and interview in person, and we also have plenty of students who interview online virtually too.
Miss King Senior 说，如果大家可以有机会到学校来访校的话呢，那就最好了。因为你可以看到学校里面的整个的氛围，你可以和学生老师交流，然后你也可以看到学校的环境以及学校周边的环境。这样的话呢，是会让你了解更多的。但是呢，如果来不了的话呢，也没有关系，因为我们在招生的时候呢，我们线上面试和访校都会也一视同仁的。那么，如果问到说当时访校的时候能不能够感受到学校的热心的氛围的话呢？因为我们当时是有访校的，我们是访了2次。第一次是我和爸爸是没有带孩子来，就是我们正好来旅游就访了一下。那我是感受到比较好的一个氛围，然后的确感受到的，因为我们的这个招生官也跟我讲了，我刚才讲过了嘛，招生官跟我讲了一个中国学生。受到照顾，在手术期间受到照顾的故事，我是印象很深刻的。那我们后来带孩子来访校和面试的时候呢，也非常巧，就是给我们做那个 tour guide 的，就是Benny，就今天我们参会的那个Benny 吧。Benny 妈妈，就是 Benny，他做了我们的 tour guide，然后我们跟他的交流也非常的开心。那我觉得这个过程呢，也是因为可以和孩子，就正在里面读书的孩子沟通，对我们来说也是蛮有帮助的。当然，因为现在中国的这个疫情啊，然后旅行不是那么方便啊，我觉得可能大家也可以通过一些其他的方式，如果来不了的话呢，可以像我们今天的这种方式，还可以跟我们的现在在校的家长们多沟通，然后你们也可以得到很多信息的。OK。这个问题，那个 Zoe 和 Min，你们有什么补充吗？
我们也是由于疫情啊，其实是没有事先是没有访校的，好，当然上的联系很多哈，但是访校是没有。但是我想说，真的是鼓励来访校。如果能来的话，哈，真的是很明显的感受哈。你要在访校的整个过程中，大家都非常热心，然后你可以看到孩子们介绍的时候很自豪，就是你能感受到那种氛围。真的是，如果可以的话，当然是来访校是最好的。
你妈妈还有补充吗？
应该没有了。我们家那个时候就没有访校。我们是直接过来的，但是安妮对这个很感兴趣，所以她到了学校以后，她就做了导游。
那次是我Benny 吐我们的时候是第一次做导游。
对，第一次做导游，他对这个工作很感兴趣，因为可以见到来自世界各地的啊，因为他不仅是做那个中国同学，也有美国还有其他国家的同学，他觉得这是个挺好的岗位，能够接触到各种各样的家庭。
然后我们丝毫没有觉得这是他第一次tour，做得非常 然后我们 Joy 也是做 tour guide 的，然后也有一个很有意思的，他今年托了一对小夫妻是到学校来结婚的，他们是在学校认识，然后毕业了以后离开学校，然后回到学校来结婚，然后带了很多亲友，然后一起来托这个参观学校。那么他们还到他们当时第一面遇到的那个地方，专门介绍了一下，这个是他们遇到的地方。所以学校就是整个的这个，因为整个的这个青少年的这个成长的环境其实挺重要的。我觉得大家能够在这样一个有爱的环境里面的话，对他们将来还是非常有帮助的。他们也会遇到自己一生的好朋友，甚至遇到他们的另一半。好，we have more questions about sports. I think Miss Kim Senior has already answered.
Yeah, but then there was another question that just came through about math courses. So I did answer it real quickly, but I'll also explain that for math and our modern languages, every student that comes to Episcopal will take a placement test before they start their classes. So that will determine what level of math or modern language, if they want to continue in a language that they're already studying, will take. So not every student will take the same math class. Not every student would take the same level of a modern language. So I can give you an example. So my own child, she just started the 9th grade this year, and she tested into honors algebra 2 with trigonometry, and tested into honors Spanish 4. So it really so for math and modern languages, we do place students according to what their capability is. For social studies, for English, for science, students would go automatically into the same courses across their grades.
这个关于课程的问题，因为我们的数学和二外是会有一个 placement test，就是入学的时候有一个测试。如果说孩子的程度比较好的话呢，他就会被放到程度比较好的level 里头去。所以，比如说9年级进来的学生，他们可能是在不同的数学班级，或者在不同的二外的班级里面，所以这个是会跟着孩子的能力走的。We have another question about
the TOEFL.
TOEFL.
Yes. The question was, if a student currently attends an international school with English as the first language, does he or she still have to take the TOEFL? And the answer is yes. So we do still want to see those TOEFL scores, because sort of every student's experience is also going to be, their language abilities are also going to vary, even if they go to an international school that's taught in English. It can sort of what's spoken at home, how they practice their English, how they use their English outside of that specific space will vary. And so because we do not offer any supplemental instruction in English, it's really important for us to be able to know that when a student is coming to Episcopal, they have a certain level of English proficiency to be successful here in our academic program.
关于托福的话，如果说是国际学校的学生，我们还是也要求提供的，因为我们学校是没有这个 ESL 的这些 program 的，所以的话，我们希望能够了解到孩子的这个英语的水平，因为大家在应用上面可能会有点差别。I see another question about dorms. I think it's already been answered. Actually, I saw another question earlier. It's about do we live nearby? It's a question to our parents. 我们可能正好3个人都有不太一样的经历吧，因为我是没有去陪读的，那也是因为我是在上海生活，然后我也觉得就是小朋友，因为他的这个学校其实 schedule 非常紧，那么我去了的话，有可能他也不一定有空来搭理我，然后他们周末也是有很多活动的安排，所以我自己个人是不具备陪读的条件，也没有这个陪读的意愿。然后Zoe 可以谈谈，因为你正好最近在学校附近。
对， 对，我也是从上海来哈。陪读其实刚刚大家都听到了，EHS 是100%boarding。我本来是想，因为我们家现在2个都在这里，尤其是新生嘛，就 Chloe 是在9年级，是我们家最小的一个孩子。我计划本来是想在这里陪一段时间，但没有打算全程陪读啊。但是来了之后呢，我刚刚说了，他进校了之后，他非常兴奋，而且学校的活动太多了，他根本不需要你，你也见不着他。所以呢，学校每个月大概有一个是叫 Community Weekend， 其实是要求学生不出校，是待在学校里的，包括周末哈。所以我觉得，如果真的是要来陪读，不是很有必要，应该说很没有必要。然后你也会觉得你也并不是常常能见到孩子哈，所以我觉得是没有必要的。现在，所以我不打算陪了。
您陪你妈妈？
我跟你一样，我就没想过要去陪读，因为100%寄宿进去以后，对，也确实没有什么必要。
这边生活也很方便，真的不需。
说起来就是陪你妈妈，因为你们是12年级嘛，我们学校好像陪读的家长我没怎么听说，我基本上好像没有，我们学校有没有中国家长在学校附近住着？
了解，但是有的家长呢可能会本身他会自己安排，比如说在美国有那个计划定居啊，有一些安排哦，这个可能不一定是为了专门来陪读的。
对，我知道有一些是在，尤其疫情期间是在感恩节或者圣诞节期间，因为孩子回去不方便嘛，是有家长过来陪的，所以这部分的话，我们好像专门单独为了孩子特地在学校附近的，好像我还没听说。
说家庭本身有这方面的安排，这个是有的，住在这个学校，正好也住在这学校附近啊，本身有这个打算移民美国的安排的哦，会有这方面住的离学校近一点，这样会方便一点嘛，对吧？
对的。Okay, so we got a lot of questions about arts.
Yeah, so I answered the arts question.
Yeah.
And then there was a question about the Washington program. We have other programs in addition to the Washington program. So I'm not sure what the person who asked Henry, what specifically you're interested in learning about, but I'm happy to sort of talk in general about. So the arts program, I think, so we've given you some information on the arts program. So hopefully that answers any curiosities you have about the arts. But in addition to the Washington program, we also have many other signature programs. So you probably heard from our students talk a lot about our mission to develop character and moral and intellectual courage on campus. So leadership and ethics is a really important signature program for us. And the programming and that program sort of, we do different things throughout the year to have our students think about what it means to live with good character. What does it mean to have good character as a student, to have good character just as a person, to have good character as a member of a community, and how will they practice good character after they graduate in their professional and personal lives. So that's another important program for us. So I'll let Gloria translate that, and then I'll mention some other programs.
这位家长问的是，就是除了这个Washington program 以外，我们还有没有什么其他的 program？Miss Kim Senior 说，我们还有各种各样的signature program，除了 Washington program 以外，那么我们包括我们的 arts 啊，然后我们的这个体育啊，都有很多，所以这部分的话，我觉得家长可能可以到我们的官网上面再去看一下。那因为今天也比较这个问题比较 general， 那如果说你有一些对孩子特别感兴趣的话，你可以在后续可以跟我们的admission office 去联系，问一些更加你们就有针对性的，比如说你们对哪方面特别感兴趣，然后对这方面学校能够提供一些什么样的 program， 你们可能会得到更有对你们来说更有针对性的信息。
Another important program in our community is our spiritual life program. So we are an Episcopalian school. And and that's a Christian denomination. So we have our students think about their spiritual identity, and we meet them wherever they're at. So it doesn't mean that we require students to be Christian. We're not looking for students who are Christian. Students come to us from all different kinds of faith. But we do want them to think about sort of that inner part of themselves, because it's an important part of life. It's an important part of society to think about religion, to think about how that plays a role in people's lives. Chapel life is a part of our experience here. So 3 times a week, they will attend chapel, and it's an opportunity for them to just sort of pull away from everything that they're doing, to meditate, to enjoy some quiet time with the larger community. It's a space that invites students to share their stories through their own chapel talks and speeches. And it also invites students who wish to perform. So we have students who will sing, who will dance, who would play a musical instrument. So it's really a wonderful community time for us to gather and to just be with each other and to just sort of think about life's larger questions. So it is an important part of our experience here as well.
Miss Kim Senior 还讲到了就是学校的spiritual life。中文里面我把它翻译成就是精神生活吧，就是它是跟我们学校的这个宗教背景还是有关系的，但是我们并没有要求每一个学生都要去信教，那么1周3次的这个 chapel time， 就是我们在教堂里面所有的学生都会到一起，那这一个环节呢，它有各种各样的活动，比如说我们有唱歌啊，或者音乐表演啊，都会在这个 chapel time 的时候去给到大家。那么我们也会有senior 的演讲，share 他的一个故事给到大家。那么还有就是大家在一起，有的时候就是有冥想，那么可以让所有的我们整个的这个 community 的人一起在一个安静的环境里面感受到互相之间的支持和互相之间的这个精神上面的沟通。那么这也是我们学校的一个精神一个非常重要的部分。那这一部分的话，其实也是它是从我们的宗教背景里面出来的，但是并不是我们更看重的是它给大家在精神层面带来的这种影响，而不是说purely 是宗教的。所以这部分的话，也是想让大家了解一下。Okay.
I think I'm not seeing any more questions on my side. I don't know if any others have sent questions to you privately, Gloria.
Yeah, I think about how many courses you have already answered. 对，okay. I think we probably let me see. Yeah, I think we have already covered almost all the questions.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All
So
right. Well, I think we're good. So I want to thank our parents for 3 of you to sort of make time for us and to be a part of this program. I know that it was incredibly valuable to our families who are tuning in. And I want to thank all the families and participants and consultants, everyone who signed on to be a part of this morning's program or your evening time, perhaps, and to learn more about Episcopal. So I hope that you got a lot from the time together. We did record the session, so we will send that out to you, and you're certainly welcome to pass it along to any other families that you know who you think might be interested in learning about Episcopal. So please feel free to share that along as well. Gloria, I don't know if you have anything that you'd like to say to the families before we wrap up.
I can translate your part
Oh,
first.
yeah.
Miss Kim Senior 说非常感谢大家来参加今天的这个部分。那么我们整个的这个 reception 会录下来，然后稍后会发送给大家。那么如果你们想要再看的话，可以再看。然后你们身边如果有朋友想要了解我们学校的话，也欢迎你们把这个link 可以发送给他们。那么同时也感谢我们今天来参加的家长们。那么我呢也加上我自己的那个我知道今天因为可能时间也比较晚了，大家如果有一些问题还没有办法 cover 到的话呢，可以跟刚才有一个在对话框里面有一个 email 地址叫 admissions@episcopalhighschool.org。那么这个邮箱是可以联络到我们的招生官。那么你们有任何问题可以跟可以通过这个邮箱来提问。那如果你们想要和我们家长有些问题想要直接联系家长的话，也可以通过我们的 admission office。然后来联系我们，他们会提供这个我们的联系方式，然后我们也愿意给大家介绍我们学校的一些情况。Miss Kim Senior, I also said that if the parents they want to connect with us, let them talk to you. You can, if they want, you can provide our contact information with them, so they can ask questions if they cannot do it today because we are approaching the close of this event.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we'll connect with you soon.
谢谢大家，
再见。
希望明年能够看到你们的孩子们。
是的。
好，拜拜。